Hypixel Duels is currently a dying game mode, and for obvious reason. The game mode is infested with hackers, boosters, and bots, and it's nearly unplayable unless you Q-dodge using some sort of sketchy third-party software. But just the other day, after nearly 1,000 days of the game mode being completely neglected by Hypixel, a miracle happened, and Hypixel officially announced a brand new Duels update. In this update, Hypixel hints to adding new maps, new game modes, and potentially even more to come. But best of all, Hypixel is asking us, the Hypixel community, for our suggestions and input in this upcoming update. Now this is where this video comes in. I think I know exactly what it would take to revive this dying game mode, and make it fun again. Now before I get into the solution, we first have to discuss the problem. Let us start with the elephant in the room, and that is cheaters and snipers. We all know what it's like to queue into a game of duels, maybe even on a high win streak, when your opponent suddenly turns into a kangaroo and wipes you out in 5 seconds. Yeah, that's not fun. I can actually testify to this with a personal experience, as just the other day, within a 30-minute period, I got sniped by blatant cheaters not once, not twice, but 4 times. Another massive problem that we can all clearly see is the win streak leaderboard. This player right here is number 1 on the win streak leaderboard with an impressive 10,000 win streak, and wait a minute, 0 kills? Yes, I have questions about this too. Now before we get into the massive game-changing updates that can completely change the game forever, let's talk about some of the small quality of life tweaks that Hypixel can add to the game to make it better. At least for me, the first thing that comes to mind is map selection and bridge, because who wouldn't love to queue Mr. Cheesy every single game? Okay, all jokes aside, I genuinely do think map selection would actually be a nice feature for Bridge, and I'm sure it would bring a lot of people back to that game mode. I also think there should be a lower height limit in Skywars duels to prevent people from camping. Also, a lot of people want to remove these dead game modes like UHC Deathmatch, but I think they should keep them, and the duels lobby should be notified when one of those game modes is about to queue, so that people can actually have a chance to play one of those games. Well, now it's time to talk about the big changes. I'm sure most of you have heard of queue dodging, and if you don't, well, it's pretty much leaving and rejoining the queue until you run into someone with less than 2 brain cells, basically artificially inflating all your stats. And since you can't see people in the queue dodgers have to use external programs and tools to find out who they're about to fight. But do people always queue dodge in order to get easy lobbies? Actually, no. Since there are so many hackers, a lot of people queue dodge in order to get away from them, which actually makes the game somewhat enjoyable for them. So here's my idea, and genuinely hear me out on this. I think Hypixel should completely remove the obstructed usernames, allowing anyone and everyone to queue dodge if they wish. And I genuinely think that this would be beneficial, since then people won't be able to queue dodge under the radar as before, but everyone will know if someone is queue dodging, which should definitely discourage it. But this will also allow people to avoid blatant cheaters, making the game far more enjoyable and much more welcoming to new players. Sure, this does come with disadvantages, but I don't think there is any valid reason for duels to be the only game mode with obstructed usernames. Now let's talk about what would happen if Hypixel did the exact opposite, as a lot of people are currently suggesting. If Hypixel completely made queue dodging impossible, it would be almost impossible to get decent win streaks unless you are a cheater, meaning all the daily leaderboards would be completely composed of cheaters and boosters, and it would be a way harder for legit players to enjoy the game, which would shrink the already small and fragile player base. Now what about those bots that are programmed only to farm wins, sometimes even by means of cheating? To fix this, Hypixel should add a report option for botting, and the anti-cheat should be flagged if someone is playing for more than, say, 48 hours without stopping. In conclusion, I think these are the main things that need to be changed, as well as adding some new maps to keep the game fresh and fixing some common glitches. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments and what you would like to see in this new update.